Welcome back to the KSS YouTube channel. On today's episode, it's going to be diagnosing the tranny and or clutch problem that I had with the Civic. I have the car jacked up. I already started on the left side. Now I'm going to go move on to the right side, taking the knuckles and the brakes apart so I can take the subframe off to take that tranny out. But yeah, so I got my light set up. It's dark. I don't want to give up just yet. I'm very caffeinated right now. So yeah, let's put in some hours and maybe get that tranny out today. If not, at least get started. But I think I'm going to take it out today. But yeah, let's get to work and see what the hell happened to this car. All right, it is the morning after. So I'm going to continue on this diagnosis. Well, I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is. At least one of them. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys the clutch. And then after that, I'm going to jack the rear up. And we're going to move on to getting some all-wheel drive stuff done. So the transmission, I'm not sure if I'll get into it in this video, but worst case is what I'll do is I'll just throw a new set of CRV gears, which I already have. I'll just throw those in and then we'll have the rest of the season figured out. But let's I'm going to show you guys that clutch and show you what happened. As soon as I took it off, I noticed a lot of heat marks everywhere. Could even feel some. As you can see, there's already a glaze on this side, but once you flip it over, there's a chunk missing on one of the, right here. There's one there, and then where's the other? Right here. There's a chunk missing out of that puck right there. And then on the flywheel, there's some welded on ceramic parts, because I believe this material is ceramic. There's some welded on ceramic at, I think, like 120 degrees from each other. 1, 2, 3, this one being the worst. It's pretty raised up on that flywheel. I've been told that you could take a clutch because it's not, the core is still nice, it's just the pucks, like it burnt. I think it just slipped and welded it, almost welded itself to the flywheel. And it got got too much heat to it. What I heard you can do is there might be a service around here. And if it's possible, I'm going to do it and I'll show the process, or at least go into that store, that shop. I could turn that stage 4 into like a stage 5, upgrading the clamping load. If I could do that for like $300-400, I will do it just to finish the season off. I will not do anything above that. Like let's say it's $600-700. Well, that's what a stage 4 is worth, around $700-ish. I'll just get a new one or something like that. But we're getting to the power where we're going to be needing a twin disc. So I don't know. There's 2-3 options what I could do, and for the clutch. But anyway, let's move on to, because I can't, it's Sunday, that shop is closed. We're going to move on to getting the rear jacked up, and we're going to do some mocking up of the all-wheel drive stuff. Since the car's down, why not get started on that? But yeah, let's dig into that and get onto the all-wheel drive process of the 7th gen. Alright, so I started taking the bolts out for the control arms, because that's what I need to take out and drill out. We're going to go under the car and I'll explain to you. I'm also going to show you guys the bracket that I made. Full experimental KSS fab that I developed myself. But yeah, let's go under the car. I'll show you guys and explain what I need to drill and cut to put that bracket in to hold the diff. So here's the bolts. Luckily they came out really easily. I cracked them loose with my big snap-on ratchet right there. Now, what I need to do is these cups right here, I need to remove them, but only to a certain place. My plan is to use these as support, because that's still going to be, that's 1/16, I'd say. So that's still going to add some strength to the car. I need to drill these holes out. These are M12, these Honda bolts. You get one. This thread here is M12, and then after that, I'm going to put the bracket. I'll show you guys that in a minute, the big reveal. So drill these out to 1/2 inch so I can put longer bolts, and then also put the bracket in, and yeah, cut these. So let's go and move. I'll show you guys the diff and the bracket that I made, and let's start mocking stuff up, cutting stuff up, and go to the hardware store. Okay, so here we have the diff that I have. This is an 07 to 11. This one is fully, well, not fully, but how should I say, modified, with some springs and some shims and a clutch kit from blacklisted CRV I found online. There's a couple different options, so that's going to be going in temporarily. This is like a 100, I don't know, not even a $200 diff, cheap option just to start off and get some experimental measurements done. Now here's the part that I made. I'm actually kind of proud of it. If it works, I'll be even more proud, but it came out really looking nice. So here's the bracket that I made. This is the rear diff mount. I made myself. So what we have here is some 1/4 inch steel, 1/4 inch steel, 1/4 inch steel, and then braced with some bent up 3/16. This design, I've seen a couple companies make some, and I was like, you know what, I think I have access to enough tools that I can make some. Since it's just an experimental system, I thought it would be a smart idea just to make my own with the material I have access to at work. Fortunately, I work at a fabrication shop. Yeah, so if you look at here, it's all braced up. Now, one mistake, not a mistake, but something I might revise if I make more of these, is this bracing is only braced from this corner to this corner. What I should have done to distribute the stress equally was to make it from this corner to about a center of this bend here. So from here to approximately here, that would have been a nice equal distribution of stress, but I know this will hold up just fine. I overbuilt it. Some people have them thin. If they're made out of steel, I think they look to be about 3/16. There's some 1/4 inch steel in mine. And just to not waste time and material, or more time, the material is already taken, but it's all tacked in place. This is not fully welded. So let's say it doesn't work absolutely whatsoever, I could just destroy it and restart again. But yeah, so let's go to the hardware store and get drill those holes out, grind those plates that I was just talking about. And these are 1/2 inch bolts, so we could bolt that up. And then after that, we need to do some measurements to the top mount of the diff. Because this, like I said, is the rear, which goes like so. Holds the diff like so, and then goes into the rear control arms that I took out. And then now we need to do some measurements for those top mounts. And then we'll have a diff fully installed. But yeah, let's go do some cutting, hardware store trip, and get back to work. I have the bracket onto the diff. Now it's moment of truth to see if my measurements were correct. We're gonna go see if it slaps in and those holes line up. Woo! Look at that. She is in. My diff is in the car. Been waiting a long time to see this. Man, it works. That's crazy. Next step, I don't know, maybe destroy or take apart these original EM2. Well, there's an ES1 EM2 knuckles for the drum brakes and go on to some CRV stuff. And then after that, I also got to measure, which is actually my main point. I should have said that now. Is the top bracket for the 2 bolts on the top of the diff, because you can't just have it holding at the back, you have to have it at the top too. So yeah, it's gonna be some measurements, and then after that, top mount. It's in. I'm happy. All right, fast forward 2 weekends. We are at another stage way ahead of where we were in the last shot. There wasn't much film because I'd say there'd be an hour of video, because there's been a lot of trial and error putting this stuff in, out, in, out, in, out. But yeah, let's go under the car. I'll show you guys where I'm at. As you can see here, we've got some CRV rear knuckles and hubs with space for a axle. But we got our Megan Racing adjustable camber arms. These have been taken out. Now, I did some modification here and here, and here there was a welded nut onto that side. So that was taken off, and I ovaled out these holes for alignment / adjustment purposes. I got a nice deal on some Skunk 2 control arms in the rear. Those were $210 Canadian, shipped to my door, barely used. And I didn't really want to take brand new stuff and mess with it, because I had to take the center of the bushing, the metal part, and bore it out to 1/2 inch for my bolts, my bolt holes for the rear mount, because I drilled everything to 1/2 inch. So let's go under the car and I'll explain everything that I've done to put the full kit in, because it's in. I'm going to show you guys that right now. So let's get on the snap-on bed and roll under there. All right, so everything is fully welded in place, and then here's my proof that I can actually weld. These are my welds. There's some nice ones on top too. I don't really want to show this, but I'm an honest person and I like to show my mistakes. This is when I started getting control of the welds, but here is where I had no control of the welder and I was really messing with the settings. So here I had to weld, and I welded 3 times and then I ground it down. The reason being is because there's this bar, yes, but underneath is a 3/16 plate, and then there's on top, let's say up to here, there's this part of the actual car that's about 1/16. I added a plate on top of 1/16 to match it and make it a flat-ish surface. And then we got our 3/16 plate in, and then we put the diff in, bolted it through these holes, and then we got these welds all done. So we got 1, 2, 3. I can't really get on top, but 3 is more than enough. They're fat welds. Yeah, this is, I'd say, the best section. Like they look bubble gummy-ish, but let's stop focusing on that. But the main point is that the whole bracket is in. Now, the next step will be doing a drive shaft. So we went to the junkyard yesterday. We got some pretty much the remaining all-wheel drive parts to at least get 4 wheels running. We got some rear CRV wheels, and since CRVs have the spares on the rear, they sometimes stay in good condition. This one was not the best, but not the worst. I'll just put EP3 in the front and then CRV in the back, 15-inch. Over here we have the drive shaft. Now, this is going to be a little hack for a cheap all-wheel drive system. CRV 2002-6, you'll get this size drive shaft. That looks approximately, I'd say, 2.5-ish. Now, go to the rear. You have, this looks 2.75, I'd say. You get an extra big rear section of the drive shaft from the front to back. So that's going to be an 08 or 07 to 11 drive shaft. And then over there, I picked up some stuff. Zoom in there. We picked up another spare diff. Maybe we'll mod it, or maybe we'll go Gear X one day when we want to actually have something durable and not in testing purposes, and we're actually ready to race all-wheel drive. Yeah, let's get the diff in, paint those welds, everything back up, and then after that it's going to be putting all the knuckles and stuff in. After that it's going to be measuring drive shafts, and tomorrow morning I have a day off. It's Monday. I'm going to go to the drive shaft shop and measure my length from transfer case to differential and bring that to the drive shaft shop, and then after that it's going to be bolting a drive shaft in and having a whole all-wheel drive system ready to test. That's going to be the next shot, is some drive shaft stuff probably, but we're this close. We're this close. Good morning, everybody. It's the day after the last shot, so I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to show you guys all the suspension stuff that I finished. We've got CRV caliper brackets and RSX calipers, because that's the mix and match that you need to use on the all-wheel drive setup, at least for this version. Coilovers, I took them all completely apart yesterday, greased them. You can still see all the grease and stuff, and I lowered them 1 inch because everyone would make fun of the car being high in the back. Well, that should change now. I don't need all the weight in the front, so we're gonna equal the car out. Now let's go underneath. I'll show you guys the whole bracket and everything all completely permanently bolted in, and after that we're going to be doing some drive shaft stuff. I'll explain some stuff before I take off. So got the drive shaft, the bracket, everything's in completely. That's the whole setup right there. Now it's measuring the drive shaft to the transfer case up there. Yesterday I measured from the transfer case to the diff, and I got 78 3/4. I'm going to measure it again, because if I get to the drive shaft shop and it's got the wrong measurements, I'm gonna look like an idiot. So now this bracket, keep in mind, it looks a little cut ugly here because I did this many years ago. I was gonna do my exhaust when it was full exhaust. I was gonna run it through this hole here. This was filled in with another plate here. Now, keep this in mind and keep these holes in mind. We're gonna go to the drive shaft and I'll show you why this is important, and it's actually really interesting. So that bracket that I just pointed at and said that was gonna be interesting, we're gonna go to the drive shaft, which is right here. There's like a measurement that was as if it was made for 7th gens going all-wheel drive. So I'll explain to you that right now. I measured these holes, and they're about at the right distance for already pre-existing holes that I was talking about under the car. And this transfer case to here is like 35 and some inches, and in the car, transfer case to that bracket is 35 and some inches, and there's already holes. I really think that that's going to bolt in directly into the car right there, and then I'm just gonna have to shorten that section out. I think like 2-3 inches about, because this is like in the 80s, and I got 78 3/4, like I said, in the car from transfer case to differential. I'm gonna go run that measurement one more time, load the drive shaft into my truck, go meet Jay for breakfast, and drop this drive shaft off. We're also going to be getting some brake lines for the rear, because now we have calipers and it's not the same lines whatsoever. It's so flex hoses. We're going to be going to pick those up and do some more installation. A miracle happening would be they get the drive shaft done in a day. That'd be insane. But yeah, let's go see what happens and get some drive shaft work done. We had a problem with the drive shaft, but in the meantime, while I sent the drive shaft out, I put the car back on 4 wheels. So the whole suspension's in. We have our 5 lug wheels in the back off of a CRV. They look similar to EP3, and then I lowered the suspension and everything. I'm gonna show you guys the drive shaft. The problem they had, well, I brought it to 2 shops, and they both don't want to touch it. One was, it was too janky for them, and I understand that, even though this is just a temporary solution just to get it moving on 4 wheels. And then the second drive shaft shop wanted to find something similar with lengths and stuff, and then make me something. They didn't find anything with the same lengths. So I have the drive shaft back exactly how it was. They really don't like this, and they really call it scrap. I think it's still straight, and I might just use it and modify it myself. It might be a micmac situation, but I want to at least get the 4 wheel. I just want to see it 4 wheels spinning in the air. But yeah, so let's get into some measuring and cutting. We still need to put the car back on 4 jacks so I could go underneath. But let's get that saw going and see what I could do. Just micmacking some stuff up. All right, so the drive shaft is welded. Well, in my hand right here, I have a pile of hardware. We got the drive shaft to transfer case, drive shaft to diff, which those are 8 bolts, 4 each. Those are all the same bolt. And then 2 more bolts for the hanger bearing, and a spacer because the drive shaft I took 07 to 11 CRV. The hanger bearing is not equal, like it's not on a equal surface, it's on a stepped surface, so I have to put a spacer in. I'll explain that when I put it into the car. But Aiden, I think, is on his way. He wants to see this thing start up really late, so sorry neighbors, I'm gonna start it and make those 4 wheels spin. I think my calculations are okay. We're about to find out in the next 5-10 minutes, so I'm gonna go try and install that and see if we can get 4 wheels spinning tonight. That'd be great. Okay, under the car, so what I did was there's these holes and everything matches. Like I said, the measurements make sense with the CRV drive shaft. I cut the center out and for the bearing to fit here, and I put a short bolt here and a longer bolt on this side because this is the one that needs spacers for the hanger bearing, because since it's weirdly made. Then we're gonna go to the back. So we're gonna throw the drive shaft in and see what happens. See if we can get something all in one piece. So wish me luck. I'm gonna throw the drive shaft and mount it. Okay, let's go. Start it up. E85.
There she goes, yeah. No way, man. That's fucking wild.
Back one, Fred.
No way. Man.
Woo!
9-second pass incoming.
Oh my god, it worked. Woo!
There it is. No way. 4 wheels spinning. This one's spinning too. All-wheel drive 7th gen.
Woo!
Let's go, boys.
Okay guys, we're gonna end the video out here. You guys saw like pretty much a nice process on how I did the system on the all-wheel drive, and you guys got to see 4 wheels spinning in the air. But that drive shaft is bad. We're gonna have to get another one made, and that's gonna be in the next couple videos. But she did spin 4 wheels. So we hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you in the next one.